Hey Merfolk fans, I'm Joe. Thanks very much for joining me today. If you'd like to support my channel, please check the link above to my Patreon page. I'm here with round 5 of Modern Competitive League. I'm currently sitting at 4-0 after having beaten, Ponza, Hollow 1, Goryo's Vengeance, Hollow 1, and that brings us to this 5th round. So it's not every day I get a chance to go 5-0, so I'm excited to show you guys this league. Let's see. I won the die roll, so I'm going to play first. Let me go ahead and close these graveyards. A little clunky. All right. Hoping for good stuff. This is workable. It's 4 lands, but 2 of them are Mutavaults, and that's really good value. And it's amazing in certain matchups, like against blue-white control. We love having man lands. Harbinger's great against Hollow 1. We've seen that matchup twice already in this league. And obviously just miscellaneous creatures. Yeah, this is a keep. I mean, it's not the most powerful hand we've ever seen. It's got turn 1 action, turn 2 action, follow up with Mutavaults. We've already got 4 lands to get instant speed Harbinger, so I like it. So the opponent mulliganed, and I'm happy to see that in round 5. So they kept the 6 and put on the bottom, so let's do it. I'm going to open Minamo instead of Basic Island just in case the opponent, is on Merfolk or something. Okay, so Raging Ravine means Jund, and that means that I've got a good shot here. We just want to draw some gas at this point. Spell Pierce is not gas, it's defense. But turn 3 Liliana is amazing for them, and being able to keep them off of it would be excellent. So go ahead and jam Master the Pearl Trident and just start pushing damage, doing what we do. This is actually a turn 4 win if uninterrupted and I draw a Lord next turn. Scavenging Ooze, okay. So Lord, off the top, one time. Island is the last thing that I wanted to see. So we are very much on the front foot here, and we want to remain there. It's a little bit enticing to play out Harbinger and just get another creature onto the table, but this guy is just too valuable to use without without getting some value out of his ability. It's tempting to attack in with the Master, but then Cursecatcher drops back to a 1/1, and I'm not really into that. I think I'll just attack with the Cursecatcher. He'll let it go through. We'll keep our clock ticking. But he surprised me. He blocked with the Scavenging Ooze. That card has a potential to just get value after value after value. Like, if he has removal from my creatures, this guy can get to the point where I can't handle him anymore. They're trading for a Cursecatcher. He must be a little bit afraid here. So now I'm just going to play a Mutavault and pass the turn. I really, really want him to go for Liliana here. I think we just win if he goes for Liliana here, but instead he's just passing the turn. I guess one of the risks here is, any kind of removal. There's Terminate, Bolt, Fatal Push, and of course Kolaghan's Command is kind of a blowout. But we have Spell Pierce, so if he goes for Terminate, we've got it. If he goes for Kolaghan's Command, we've got it. So I'm not really sure what I want to do with my lands here. So just activate Mutavault and go to combat, holding up Spell Pierce. I could have played Mutavault and used the gray mana to activate the Mutavault, leaving up 2 blue. It doesn't really do much more for us, though. So anyhow, getting in for 5 here, hoping that the Spell Pierce has something to hit. All right, so that kind of explains, and I could have actually potentially realized this as an option. Explains the chump block with the trade with Scavenging Ooze on the Cursecatcher, because now the opponent gets to get the Scavenging Ooze back while also killing my Lord. The Spell Pierce is just it is big fat uppercut to this Jund player. Gonna take 5. We're gonna take out another one of his legs. He's down to 13. Play Mutavault. Play AEther Vial. And we've got 8 power on the board with Creature Bounce in our hand. The opponent played a Treetop Village. Here's another Scavenging Ooze anyway. He's going to eat the Cursecatcher. So, opponent has a 3/3. What do we do against that? Take the AEther Vial up, and we drew another Lord, so that's a nice response. We can activate one Mutavault, for sure. And then, you know what? I think in this spot, I'm going to just attack with both guys here. If he wants to trade a Lord for the Scavenging Ooze, it means the Scavenging Ooze can't get any bigger. It means he's going to take 4 from the Mutavault, for sure. And we've still got Harbinger in the hand. All right, so he chooses the trade, and he's down to 10. 20 to 10. He's got 4 cards in hand. We don't really like to see that. Actually, going down to 8 to bring in an untapped Overgrown Tomb. What's happening here? That's terrible. Late game Inquisition should not grab anything out of our hand. If this AEther Vial had been one more counter on it, then I could have just brought the Harbinger in. Opponent leaving... So he brought this Overgrown Tomb in untapped, which means he's clearly got something to do, even if it's just activating Treetop Village. Take AEther Vial up, and we'd love to draw another Lord here. Kira's pretty cool too. I'd play this island, play Kira, activate a Mutavault, and just swing with Mutavault. If he wants to trade with Treetop Village, we're going to keep taxing his resources here. He doesn't have enough mana to activate Raging Ravine and block. Let's get in there and see if he's got something. Now, he didn't respond to Kira, so it wasn't really a removal plan, I don't think. So, activating Treetop Village, and it looks like we're going to trade manland for manland here. We're still sitting at 20, so being on the play in this game has been massive. Okay, Dreadbore on Kira. That puts him down to 2 cards. And then Lightning Bolt, leaving him with only gray mana, the Twilight Mire, and 1 card in hand. Well, here's a Blood Crypt, tapped. So he's on 0 cards, which means we get to get him to 3 next turn, no matter what. We've got tons of amazing top decks to make here. Silvergill Adept is fantastic. Let's get that guy out. Wanderwine Hub is pretty garbage. But again, we just get to hit the opponent down to 3 right now. It's going to be hard for him to deal with all of our threats this turn, I think. And he just scooped. All right, so we're 1 game away from a 5-0 result. Look away if you don't want to see the match result. I'm going to click out of this window now. All right, back for game 2. The opponent's going to be on the play. Again, I'm pretty happy to be playing against Jund. It's not a gimme. Merfolk doesn't really have any gimme matchups, I should say. But it's one of our more solid matchups. I'm going to show you guys my sideboard plan here. So, we take out our AEther Vials against Jund. They're terrible top decks, and they're very weak to Kolaghan's command. Allows for just massive blowouts. Don't even like to think about it. So I took out 4 AEther Vials, 2 Cursecatchers, because they're just not very, very high value. But we do want early bodies on the table to have options if they play a Liliana of the Veil. As far as what we're sacking, you sack a Cursecatcher is not the end of the world, and then hopefully we have enough power left to sort of kill Liliana on our turn. Mutavaults help a lot with that too. So let's see, we took out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we brought in 2 Dismembers. Deals with whatever threat they might land, and 1 Echoing Truth. You don't really want both Echoing Truths. You can't really expect them to have multiples on the board at any time, but having a singleton can sort of change the dynamics of combat. It can save some of our creatures in response to removal. A nice flexible spell, and a good replacement for one of these AEther Vials. So I brought in 2 Dismembers, 1 Echoing Truth, and 3 Relic of Progenitus. You really want Graveyard Hate against Tarmogoyf and Scavenging Ooze. All right, so 6 out and 6 in. Opponent's on the play, and let's see the opening hand. This is lovely. We really want to hit another... we had these exact lands in one of our... in the one game that we lost so far in this match, which makes me a little bit hesitant. Actually, it's funny. I think we had like this 8 blue symbols also in that particular opening hand, if I recall correctly. Maybe not, but anyhow, on the draw, snap keep. Relic can just grind them down. No value from the graveyard. Opponent kept 7. Let's go. Tapped Overgrown Tomb, no hand disruption. Spreading Seas, that's amazing. So I'm going to play Mutavault here, I think, because if the opponent takes Spreading Seas out of our hand with hand disruption next turn, Well, we would still play the Relic. But the sequencing of the lands here isn't a huge deal. Oh no, I'm sorry. We're playing Relic this turn. So yes, that does make sense because play Relic now. If he takes the Spreading Seas and I don't draw a land, I can at least get in for 2 points of damage. Now, I'm not expecting hand disruption because if he had it, he probably would have brought this in untapped. Well, he definitely would have brought it in untapped, but you could definitely rip like a Thoughtseize off the top of the deck. Let's see what happens. All right, Bloodstain, cracking, activating Relic. Let's keep the graveyard nice and empty. All right, so Dark Confidant, pretty much the last card that we wanted to see here. We're going to get to draw a card off the Spreading Seas. So as far as card advantage goes, we're maintaining parity right now. But this guy can really put us in a hole. So I'd love to draw into a Dismember. Blue mana would be great to get Harbinger online. Let's just see what happens. Reejerey is neither mana nor Dismember. All right, so I'm going to play Wanderwine Hub, and I think the best reveal here is probably Reejerey, since we would probably put that guy out first if we draw another land. So yeah, clearly the best play here is just that. Drew another Island Walk Lord, so things are getting pretty grim over here. The opponent cracked Bloodstained Mire for a basic mountain. Just curious. Now, if you're 4-0 in a competitive league, your opponent is going to be a strong player because the way that they pair is based on the difference basically between your wins and losses. So that means the guy I'm playing against is almost certainly also currently sitting at 4-0. Let's go ahead and look at the revealed cards. A Lightning Bolt, it's okay. I mean, it's gonna kill one of our creatures. He does have a land. He's going to be able to get black mana online. But he gets a basic forest. Are we going Blood Moon here? He's really trying to conserve his life total. Maybe he has a basic swamp in hand. So here's a Scavenging Ooze. It's a good thing we took him off of this land. Makes it harder for him to get value off of the Scavenging Ooze. Of course, there's no creatures in the graveyard yet. And the Relic is already doing a good job keeping things trim. So graveyards are empty, and with an empty board here, I want the guy to get in with Dark Confidant here. We have a good chance of drawing some blue land here, and we do. Now that was a make-or-break moment in this game. If I just had to pass the turn without playing any creatures right there, I almost certainly would have lost. As it went, I get to not only play a land, not only play a creature, but I get to bounce his source of card advantage. So just absolutely fantastic that I drew that blue source right there. Opponent is going to bolt. He doesn't like me bouncing Dark Confidant, so he's going to bolt, but that's not going to stop it, unfortunately. In response to all of this, I'm just going to exile my Harbinger, absolutely not letting the opponent gain any life off of Scavenging Ooze if I can avoid it. All right, so that was awesome. We are in it. We have a chance here. Opponent making 2 black, and he goes for Inquisition. I don't know if he likes what he sees here or doesn't like what he sees here. Probably doesn't like. Took the Reejerey. Interesting. I don't know. I've got Island Walk online. So much redundancy, right? Why not take the Reejerey? I guess it makes sense. Uses the other black to reestablish Dark Confidant. Opponent is down to 3 cards. He had to tap his green to make black this turn. It's one of the downsides of running filter lands is it makes your mana a little bit awkward. He has hit his land drops. He does get in with the Scoos here. I have an option, I should say, to crack the Relic here. But I don't think I'm going to because I can easily just get rid of Reejerey, keeping him off value from Scavenging Ooze. And I'm not going to be able to play 2 of these spells next turn anyway, so odds are I'm going to be leaving up mana again next turn. Well, Island is pretty nice. I'm going to get rid of my Reejerey before the opponent gets to untap. Now, of course, I could activate Mutavault and swing in with Island Walk here, but if the opponent plays Kolaghan's Command, that means he gets to kill a Lord and kill the Relic, and that's just not going to happen. So Dark Confidant revealed a Bloodbraid Elf there. It's awesome. The opponent's already down to 13, which makes all of these Lords really, really potent against that lower life total. Bloodbraid, he can cast it here for sure. Try to cascade into some value. All right, so one of the cards in his hand is another land. Goes down to 12. Gets a basic swamp. I think this guy, what's up with the basics, right? Like, what is he doing? Conserving his life total, I guess. All right, so there's Dreadbore. Can't do anything about that. Opponent, if he wants to, gets to eat that thing. But this is a good opportunity to crack the relic. If he has something in hand like a Tarmogoyf, if he thinks he can use this extra green mana, it's not going to happen. So let's cycle the relic. In response to that, of course, it makes sense to go ahead and eat the Lord. The Skoos will get bigger. All right, so he's a 3/3, gained 1 life, and we know he has a Bloodbraid Elf in hand. Getting in with the Dark Confidant again, and at this point I'm kind of hoping that I draw into a Harbinger again. Didn't. Now the reason I played Cavern of Souls here is if he's sideboarding in Choke, I want to be able to untap some of my lands. So you know, it was, let's see. I was going to have to, well, I decided to play out both Lords here, which makes a lot of sense. Now, you do not want to play out double Master of the Pearl Trident because, of course, Maelstrom Pulse would just kill both Master of the Pearl Trident. So you play a diverse assortment of threats. And at this point, we've got 10 on the board. If we play this next Lord, it's going to be 13 for exact lethal. Now, it's sketchy because the opponent can gain life from Scavenging Ooze. We're hoping that this Dark Confidant takes another chunk out of his life total without hurting our creatures too much. What did he reveal here? Now, Collective Brutality is perfect because it can't kill any of our creatures, still hits the opponent's life total. He can't take any instants or sorceries out of our hand. Of course, he could drain us for 2, but the higher value play here is almost certainly going to be that Bloodbraid Elf that he has in hand. It looks like he's gone for it. He mistapped his mana a little bit. All right, there it is. So that's going to work. What are we going to hit? So at this point, there's so many things that could happen, right? So if he hits Kolaghan's Command, it's not so bad, right? Because there's no creatures in the graveyard for him to get back. There's no artifacts to destroy. He can only deal 2 damage to one of my creatures. And yeah, I could discard an island. Kolaghan's Command, not a big deal. Liliana would be a pain in the butt because I'd probably just sack the Mutavault, in which case I don't have lethal next turn. And any removal is pretty bad, right? Like Terminate, Dreadbore, Fatal Push, whatever. I mean, another Collective Brutality would be fine. Let's see what he gets. A Tarmogoyf, so I didn't get to the part about potentially hitting creatures because we've got Island Walk, and creatures are all we want to see right now. Especially a Tarmogoyf, since he's comically a 0/1 right now. Relic of Progenitus really showing its worth here. So how is the opponent going to attack? Even gets in with Bob. Opponent sees a big attack coming. He knows I have this Lord in hand. Maybe he thinks that Bob is a liability because he's going to lose life to it anyway. So he gets in with the Bob. Now I'm thinking, what if the opponent has... He hasn't played a land yet this turn. If he plays a red source and then a bolt, right? So this is 3/3/2, that's 8, and bolt kills me. If I don't block. If I do block the Dark Confidant, for example, bolt is also really terrible because then he bolts the other Lord. I trade with the Dark Confidant. I take 6. I lose my board. I'm down to 5 life, and the opponent's still sitting at 11. So blocks just looked really poor. So I'm dead to bolt basically here. So I didn't block. I just chose to take 8. And at that point, the opponent didn't even let me go to my turn. He just scooped, which I was super excited about because that means I went 5-0 again. I think this is the second time it's happened in maybe like a week and a half. Merfolk is feeling really, really good right now. I do come across Scapeshift every now and then, and I mentioned in my little deck tech in round 3 that I'm going to try out Deprive as my counterspell instead of Negate, 3 Deprives in the sideboard, as a way to help us against Titan Shift, as well as, other matchups. Deprive is such a well-rounded card. I am going to want to up my island count. I mentioned in that little deck tech that I was probably going to go up to 8 islands. I might even trim 1 Cavern of Souls, potentially even 2, just to make sure that I always have double blue to cast Deprive when I bring it in. But anyhow, that's sort of a tangent. Again, very excited to go 5-0 with Merfolk. Hopefully I'll show up on the mothership on Wizards' website. I think I've probably gone 5-0 over the years, just a handful of times in the competitive leagues. It has to be somewhere around 5 or 6. And I've never gotten onto their reported 5-0 deck lists. So I always hope when it happens that it does. And this most recent time, like a week and a half ago, I was really disappointed to see that I didn't make it up. But anyhow, I get a ton of treasure chests. I get like qualifier points, play points. Just it feels really good when you go 5-0. So thanks guys for watching so much. I really appreciate your support. Let me know your thoughts on the round. Did I make any mistakes? Did the opponent make any obvious mistakes? Yeah, subscribe if you haven't. Please check out my Patreon. I really appreciate it when you guys pledge on the Patreon page. It just helps me out a little bit. Makes it that much more worthwhile for me to keep uploading these videos for you guys. Yeah, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks again very much, and I'll see you there.